If I asked you a question that what do effective students do differently that makes them better than others? Well, you could actually comment your answers below before going on. You could pause and comment your answers below. But if I were you, or like most of us, I'd probably say they study for longer hours than others. But come to think of it, that's mostly not true. There's actually more to it. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Samuel, a second year medical student currently studying in Russia. Well, someone has been waiting for me to change from second year to actually third year, and that will be happening somewhere around spring this year. Basically, on this channel, we'll talk about how we can study effectively, productivity, and generally my life as a medical student. So if you're up for topics like this and you'd like to see more videos and content on these topics, then a sub to the channel will be very effective. Basically, one of my most important interests in life is effective studying, and this would actually lead me to being an effective student. Not basically being the best student in the school or being the best student in the class, but just being good at whatever I'm doing. And this has led me to ask questions from seniors or from geniuses, students that I know that are geniuses, that are very smart. And of course, I'm very lucky to have one of these rare people as the closest person to me. And so from conversations, articles, videos watched, a lot of videos actually watched, I've come up with the 6 habits of highly effective students that I believe if we could cultivate into our study techniques or study method, it would actually jack up our studying game to a roof or to an extent that would actually not believe. So the first one we're going to be talking about today is subject scoping, which is one of the most important traits of highly effective students. And I've always talked about this before, but today I'm going to be approaching it differently with a very juicy story of my life. It's always important to be a forward thinker or scope the subject before actually studying or before even having a class with a teacher. Once in my high school, when we were in Nigeria, I asked Evelyn how does she actually spend her holidays when we're in high school, and she was like, the main thing that she actually does during holiday was try to finish her English textbook before the next semester. So whatever we're going to study the next semester, she was going to try to finish it during the holiday. And I was shocked at this response because at then I actually believed holidays were anti-studying periods where I'm allowed to do every other thing else apart from studying, just enjoying my life. I'm pondering over this response from the best student in my set. I actually took this method and tried it once. And so at the end of a particular semester, as we're going for holiday, I went up to meet my physics teacher and my further maths teacher then to give me the topics we're going to study for the next semester. And I tried my possible best to actually study them and probably finish some of the topics before we actually resumed. And one shocking thing was that when we resumed, that semester was actually the only semester, I guess, or one of the semesters where I had the highest score in physics and further maths in my class. And this was what happened. It was so good to the extent that when we were writing tests or exams, when I see some particular questions in further maths, I could literally remember every single value or even the final answer I got while studying that particular question before the class. And so it helped my timing, which was of course very limited then for solving further mathematics and mathematics in exams and tests. And so that helped my timing and also helped my understanding or comprehension of the subject. It's always important to be a forward thinker or be a subject scoper before we actually study a subject or before we have a class with a teacher. This will not only boost our understanding or comprehension, but this will also improve our problem solving skill that will take us through the roof as we try to improve our studying game. The second one I'm going to be talking about today is that highly effective students are able to maintain their flow state. And in one of my earlier videos about how to study effectively, of course, I'll link the playlist up there so you can check it out if you have not seen it. In one of my videos there, I talked about a state called the flow state, which is a state where we are oblivious of what goes on around us and our focus is targeted like a laser to whatever we're trying to study at that particular moment. This concept of flow state was actually brought up by Mikhail in 1975, and according to positive psychology, they call this flow state as also being in the zone. And this can be considered as a mental state in which a person performing some activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement and enjoyment in the process of the activity. In essence, flow is characterized by the complete absorption in what one does and the resulting transformation in one sense of time. Most highly effective or highly successful students don't just study for long hours because they want to flex about the amount of time used to studying, but they probably study for long hours because they are oblivious of their time, because they maintain their focus and they're oblivious of what goes around them, rather than just studying for probably 3 hours and getting distracted for half of the time, 1 hour 30 minutes. The third habit of highly effective students I'm going to be talking about today is avoid last minute things. This tip I actually learned from a fellow YouTuber who actually talks about this effective studying extensively. And I'm a kind of person, or I believe to be a kind of person, who loves to work under pressure. And so I like to, rather than span my studying over a particular period of time, I like to squeeze it into hours or a particular day just before the class. And this just don't decrease our efficiency, but also reduces our comprehension and makes us use some kind of study techniques that don't actually improve our comprehension and also remembrance of what we've actually studied. It is important to start working or studying days before the deadline. Yeah, I understand. School can actually be annoying. It can actually be hectic. Of course, I'm in a medical school, I understand. But if we use the 5-minute rule or the use of virtual deadline, it can actually get us out of this pit. What do I mean by 5-minute rule? I've talked about this before. This could actually be any minute rule, because this is just a rule that states that that particular time we've given it, probably 5 minutes rule, it says that we would use 5 minutes of our time to actually start doing something. This is a way to get us into our flow state. So you start studying a particular concept or start doing anything for 5 minutes, decide to do it for just 5 minutes. And if you say that you've gotten into the flow state and you are interested, or you are immersed in what you're trying to study, then you could actually go on and just start studying from there. But if you don't actually get immersed in it, you can just stop studying after the particular minutes you've set for it, probably 5 or 10. What you get from 5 or 10 minutes of studying it, even though you don't get immersed, is that you've already set foundation, or 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, throughout the day. On another day, you are setting little foundations by the time you're actually going to fully study the study material. Just imagine if you don't actually want to study at that particular moment and you've got a cheeky 5 minutes or 10 minutes free at your hand that you can use. You could watch a video on YouTube over that particular material, over that particular topic, and by so doing, you're already setting foundation of the understanding in your brain, which will help you when you decide to study the material extensively. And also, the use of virtual deadline, this just says that you actually set a deadline for yourself earlier than the normal deadline, so that you tell your brain that I have to get this done before this particular day, which is earlier than the day you're meant to actually get it done. So that this helps you to get things done faster and do things or study over a particular span of time, rather than squeezing everything into a particular period before the test. The fourth habit I'm going to be talking about today is to study a bit every day, or try to study every day. This does not mean you have to study at the same rate or same length every single day. This just means that you have to put yourself in the studying mood every single day. It could mean that even on your resting day, you just decide to do a revision, going through flashcard, answering questions, watching a video, just doing anything fun, even on your free day. This helps you not to leave the mood or motivation of studying. So days that we don't actually feel like studying, or days that we're meant to rest, we do a little revision or answering questions, which will keep us still in the mood of studying. Now quickly to the fifth habit of students that are actually very effective, and this is the habit of asking questions or asking for help. This is one very good importance, or one very good characteristic of an effective student, because I believe effective students try to satisfy their curiosity in every way they can actually. You see, when we're trying to study, of course, I said in my last video that when we're trying to study, our brain pops up some particular questions in our head that might be foundations or important keys to understanding the particular concept. So it's important to satisfy that curiosity or answer those questions in whichever way possible, either by Googling it, either by asking a friend, asking a senior, asking the lecturer himself or herself. And this will actually help us to build foundations of the knowledge, which will actually help our study method to be very effective. It's always important to ask questions or answer the questions in our head as fast as possible, if possible immediately. If not possible, then it is important to write it down, because at the rate at which we take in information every day, it's easy for us to forget things. And so if you don't write the question down, you might forget it. So it's important to answer them immediately if possible, and if not, to write them down to answer them definitely at a different time. Finally, the sixth habit of highly effective students is to use active study methods rather than passive study methods. And when I talk about passive study method, I mean methods like rewriting, rereading, highlighting, or copying down into each other. And according to research, they are not really that good for us to use to study. But it's important to know that whatever works best for a person is the most preferable study method for that person. So if it works very well for you to highlight or to write notes, do it very, very effectively. Do it a lot if that is going to be working for you. And these active methods include answering questions or engaging the brain before studying, during studying, and even after studying. During studying, by writing questions and answering them. After studying, by answering those questions at a later time or using or answering flashcards. I'll be making a video very soon on how to stay organized in school or how to be organized to help our effective learning. So if you are not yet a subscriber, a sub to the channel will be very, very great, so you don't miss out on any of these videos that are coming very, very soon. Don't forget to give this video a like and to share to every student out there so that they can benefit also from this video. If you'd love to see my short videos where I talk about productivity and effective learning in less than 60 seconds, then you should probably click up here for the playlist. And if you've not seen my last video on how to learn a new content in a fast and very effective way, you should actually check this video down here. That's the video where I talked about how to learn new content in a very fast and effective way. That's been it, guys. Once again, I'm Samuel, and catch you guys very soon on the next one.